Hello and welcome to FAT2, our brand new filter plugin with custom filter types and multi-point modulation, available for PC and Mac in VST, AU and AAX formats. FAT2 is built from the ground up, featuring a sleek but familiar design, custom filter types, multi-point modulation and a resizable UI, just to name a few. Sound design can somewhat become stale with standard filter types, and this is where FAT2 rises above. FAT2 is packaged with 4 filter types: high pass, low pass, band pass and effects filters. Each of the 4 filter types come with 5 different flavoured variants, all designed by our in-house sound engineers. And here is how to get started with FAT2. The default preset will load the modulation that's happening on the cutoff and the resonance, and we can turn this off simply by heading into the modulation tab and switching off the on and off switches. Now we have independent control of each, and we can set these to where we would like and use this as a normal filter with the standard filter type such as low pass 1. But FAT2 is about getting creative, so we're going to pick effects filter 3, a custom shape, and we're going to use the cutoff and resonance to hear exactly what's happening, and then we can add some modulation in. Now we have the desired settings, we can jump into the modulation and we can start automating some of these parameters. So we're going to choose to automate the resonance. Jumping in, we can activate using the on and off switch, and it's set to 1 bar by default. We're going to set this so it's like a sidechain at quarter notes. Now jumping back into the modulation, we can pick smoothing, and we can choose how smooth this is going to be on the curve. So we can iron out this curve here, which seems to come to quite a sharp point. We can actually automate this so it's a lot smoother in an arc shape. I'm going to leave smoothing around there. Now if we want to, we can be very precise and we can use snapping, and this will snap it to the current tempo that we have. But now we're going to leave snapping off so we can freely move. And now we have envelope 2 set up, I feel like envelope 1 could have a more complex pattern instead of being static. So I'm going to click envelope 1 and activate that as well. We're going to choose quarters for now, so it's acting like a sidechain, so they're both now modulating at the same rate. But we don't want it to modulate at the same rate, and we don't want it to sound as drastic as it does. So we can drag these down and this will determine the height. Down here is 0 and up at the top is 100%. So if we go to around 50% there, that will stop the cutoff going as far as it did. I'm going to set this to a 24 dB per octave. And now that we have that set up, we want to make the cutoff a little bit more complex. And I want to add more points into my envelope. So double clicking anywhere will create a new node. And the same again, if you double click, it will remove the node. Adding a new node in, I'm going to select snapping. I'm going to set this to 1/8. So we have more snapping points. And I'm going to create a little bit more of a syncopated pattern. Now that we have that set up, let's have a listen. So we've got some drastic modulation, but it's a little bit too much. So we're going to reduce the envelope here of the resonance. FAT2 can get very creative using the effects filters and using a slower modulation, say over 4 or 8 bars, to create unique builds and transitions. We're going to demonstrate this using effects filter 3, and we're going to use modulation only on the cutoff. The resonance will be set at around 13 to 14%, just like so we can hear some of the details pop through from the effects filter. And jumping into the modulation tab, we're going to activate envelope 1. We're going to set this to 4 bars, and we're going to turn smoothing off for now. I'm going to double click the nodes and just create one node here and a straight line so we have a very linear fade. Now when we listen to this, we'll hear the cutoff sweep through the shape of this filter, and we'll hear a combination of a high pass and a low pass at the same time, kind of overlapping. And we can emphasize this by setting this into a 48 dB per octave. And this is not just limited to Effects Filter 3, we can do this with other shapes and utilize their unique designs. For example, Low Pass 4, or even using a high pass. Fat 2 is also great on drums and percussive elements as well. With the fast modulation capabilities, we can create some really interesting grooves and rhythms. Now everything's sounding a little bit smoothed and it doesn't sound as sharp as it should do, and we can jump into modulation and take a look at the smoothing. The smoothing is set to 50%, so I'm going to drop that down to 0. And the same with envelope 1. And we start to get some nice syncopated movement. And a tip for tack sharp precision on drums and percussive loops, use the snapping functions on the envelopes to make sure that everything is snapped in time. Fat 2 is great for effects as well. We're going to demonstrate this using some white noise, and then we will cycle through some of the presets that we have saved. We hope you enjoyed this brief introduction to Fat 2. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and head over to our website soundspot.audio to sign up for our mailing list for the latest news on our products. We have been SoundSpot, and thank you for watching.